Should we give it a few seconds or should we just go right in?
I would just go right in. It's 9:30, I think.
All right, let's call it. We're live from Tallahassee, Florida. This is the first annual JOCU Sports Cards Pre-National Auction Spectacular. It's a spectacular auction, but it's the auction spectacular. My name's John. I go by JOCU Sports Cards. Kai,
What's
how
up?
You doing?
Good. I'm KP2 Cards for those that don't know. We are thankful for Rob for letting us stream on his YouTube. He should be here in a few minutes for a couple minutes to say hi. He ended up being a little busier, so we're going to be running the show tonight. But yeah, it should be fun. We have our first set of auctions closing in about 10 minutes. But John, what are you most excited for to talk about tonight?
Tonight, we're going to have guests that have been in the hobby for 10 plus years that are going to tell all about their experiences, what they've learned. And we tried to pick more people that were more experienced in the hobby day to day, rather than maybe just trying to grab some views. So we're trying to be informative. We're trying to be entertaining. I'm excited about, there's so many good auctions starting at 9:40 in 10 minutes here. We got TCG auctions ending. We got soccer auctions. So right here on your screen, we got 9.5 Charizards, which evolved from what, Kai?
Charmeleon.
But then before that,
Charmander.
Oh gosh, we got it all. We got the Venusaur 9.5s. We got just what else could you want?
The Ronaldo.
We got a Ronaldo patch auto,
match worn as well.
But like I said, tonight's going to be more. We're going to introduce everything coming up, but really, you guys want to hear. If you're listening tomorrow, if you're listening next week, you want to hear more from our guests and hopefully from us, learning a little bit about the hobby that we all love. More about what we're going to be talking about is more about just the pre-national stuff. So, Kai, this is your what year is this for you for the national?
Oh God, I want to say 2017 Cleveland was my first one. I think David could probably fact check me whenever he comes on. I think that was the first one I went to. I'm pretty sure he was there.
And what would be your biggest takeaways for anyone that might be going for the first time this year?
I think what I've learned the most about the national is I think at first I was so worried about the card part of it, but I think a lot of other people say it too, is kind of meeting people's what I've taken away. I wish I met more people, took more time to talk to more people my first couple. Because there's so many people that you're not going to see the rest of the year or talk to the rest of the year. I think it's important to either build a relationship or just say hi to someone that you might not have online or whatever.
And like we talked about on the Sold Too Early podcast that actually dropped today, shout out to Dave Extraordinary Cards. We call him Extraordinary Dave. Like we talked about the national, there's certain people that just go to the national and that's really all they do for their inventory, whether they're overseas or maybe that's all they focus on for the year. They tend to, bring the money out and start buying. So certain people that might not be involved for the entire year might get re-involved or reinvigorated. I know for me, my first experience with the national, I went for, a day because it was during my sister's wedding and I didn't really even know that there was a show culture or anything like that. And it kind of opened my eyes to how big the card world really is. So I think for anyone that hasn't gone, it's a really good experience just to walk around, try to talk to people. And even if you don't buy, sell, or trade anything, just kind of get around, walk around and see what's going on and see what people are buying and what they're doing and how they got there.
Yeah, I think what's cool about the national is when you do cards online, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or eBay or whatever, you see a lot of stuff. But when you get to the national, there's people there that don't deal online, don't deal on social media. So, I mean, you're seeing the other 75% of cards you've never seen before. And I think those are the cards that people really are in awe about. Those PMGs, the 101s, the overseas collections you might not see every day, that kind of stuff. But I think the national is just something, if you're really into cards, I would invest, take the trip, at least go once, see if you like it or not. You don't have to go every year. I know it's expensive for a lot of people, especially if you're not into this heavy. But I would definitely recommend it if you're thinking about it.
And also you could always set your goal to pick one card that you really want to get. Like mine was a Calvin Johnson, Jerry Rice gold BGS 9.5 that I traded from Kai actually. And that's kind of how we met the first time. So you never know.
Smoked in this deal, by the way.
So you never know what kind of card you could come across. Certain ones, like Kai said, for people that don't post online, sometimes you could just find some diamonds in the rough at the national, and it really just tends to, like, you'll be looking for stuff all year, and then you'll just see all this stuff there at the national. You're like, man, where did this guy come from, or where did this card come from? I would have loved to see this. So really, like, I would say cash brings a lot out of people, and also just the kind of the environment. So like if you walk around, like one of my biggest advice, and I know this is like, I guess maybe just easy said, easy done, but I would say you try to, oh, and look who we got joining, the man. I'm going to cut my thought off and just go straight in to Rob, the sports card therapist, who's one of, if not the best podcast host in the game. No offense, Kai, but Rob, what do you got going on tonight?
How's it going, guys? How's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, we got you loud and clear, Rob.
Oh, man, you guys are a sight for sore eyes. Let me tell you something. You guys look incredible up there, man. I hope everything's going well. I'm actually here right now. I'm right here, New York City. Got Bleecker Trading right behind me. Just had an incredible trade night, an incredible event, some great people out there. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about your auction that you guys have going off tonight. You guys are killing it right now. And the brand JOCU sports cards, I feel like, is just really taken off over the last, 6 months to a year. And it's really just because it's a testament to all the hard work by you, John, and you, Kai, who has joined, man. So you guys are absolutely killing it.
Man, I almost went straight into you, Rob. I was just gonna be like, "Hey, what did you pick up?" I like our conversations that we've had. I just wanted to go straight into, "Hey, like, forget everything else. Did you pick up anything cool? How'd you do at the trade night? Did you find anything cool or what?" But yeah,
Well,
much appreciated. We're so excited to be sponsoring your trade night, and with the Wolf Pack and all that, like just the platform that you've given people to start podcasts, where they can go on the Wolf Pack network. And really branch out and get views, the group that you put together, just like everything from when I started listening to all your roundtables and everything during the winter, man, you've just been so great, and we appreciate the platform, and we're so excited for the trade night, man. So excited for National to be set up next to you. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Can't wait. And, really couldn't be more excited about having you guys there sponsoring the event, and then also having you guys set up with us right there at National for the whole week. I mean, it's great, man. It's great. And
what are you bringing? What's the best card you think you're bringing in your showcase to the National this year to move, let's say?
I don't know, man. It's tough because I've been having some great guests on my show in the last in the last few months. And I recently had Sports Card Pete on, and he talked about consolidating all of his cards down to 25. So I'm probably going to bring everything I have, which, there's a couple big cards in there, but I'm probably going to bring everything I have, but that doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to be available. But I want to make sure I have it there in case I need it for ammo to pull the trigger on something massive, and I think that's the exciting part about National, is that you never know what's going to be there.
Definitely. Yep. We were kind of mentioning that, like, a lot of stuff that you don't see day to day ends up at tables at the National that you would probably never see. And I don't know if you heard, but I even mentioned a card. That's how Kai and I met, was a trade that we made at the National. So you really never know who you're going to meet, what experiences that you're going to have. And it's just an experience that I think everyone should have. If they haven't been, I would highly recommend going. Opens your eyes to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Very well said, guys. And so is this the beginning, John, for you for a dive into content creation?
You called me by my government name. I don't know. I might be done after this, but yeah. No, Kai and I have mentioned maybe doing something live every month with a bunch of guests. Like right now we have David from DK Sports Cards and his partner, Caleb, who have over 10 years of experience in the hobby. So we'd really like to just talk to people that have a lot of experience and maybe run it with an auction or maybe just have a show. But yeah, definitely interested. We have some people right here. Hey, Tanner, how you doing, man? Kathleen, that's my wife. Yep, she's excited to hear. I appreciate you looking. Julia, yep, we'll answer your question in a second. But yeah, definitely could be the start of something big, and hopefully you're a part of it as well, Rob, because you're definitely killing it, man. But yeah, so we got our next guest coming on, Rob, here at 9:40, so we're right on time. What do you got? Any final parting thoughts for us?
No, man, I'm just excited to have you guys, on my channel, broadcasting this, talking about your auction, and bringing on some of the best minds in the hobby, because I know that's what you guys are doing, right? You're like, well, the auction that's ending tonight on JOCU on eBay is part of it, but it's also just about bringing some of the best minds in the hobby on. So I love that you guys are thinking like that. So keep up the great work.
Awesome, Rob. Well, you have a safe night, and thanks for stopping by. And with that being said, we're gonna have Kai introduce our next guest.
All right,
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you.
So coming on next, we have one of the OG group submitters, someone I've known for a while, his business partner who I've also met, and he's a great dude. We have David and Caleb from DK Card 7 coming on. What is up, guys?
What's going on, guys? What's up?
Thanks for having us.
How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing well. We got the kids.
Good to be here.
Awesome. So, David, how long have I known you for? Probably what, like 7 years?
I feel like I've known you since I had like 200 followers on this account.
Yeah.
Like,
it's been so long.
And in person, especially too. Like, it feels like it's not a national if I don't run into Kai and see what sick Matt Ryan he picked up.
That's kind of going along with our first question. I was just wondering, like, you've been in cards forever. I mean, what's kind of something that you've noticed that's changed the most that you're like, wow, like that's crazy?
I mean, especially, I remember when I was a kid, I remember Joseph Robertson, y'all know him as Sappy Sports Cards. He has a shop around here, but he's been streaming, and he was kind of one of the first guys in my life that I really saw take cards as seriously enough to be a living, along with RBI Crew. And I remember I was like 14 and someone told me that like Sappy quit his job and was doing this full time. And it was like unheard of at the time. Like that wasn't as commonplace as it is now. And so I think a lot of people back then were collectors, and, if you made some flips along the way, that was cool. But most of the people that went to a card show were there as collectors, not, oh, I'm purely going to buy at this margin to flip. So it feels just kind of like a different audience at a show.
100%. Yeah.
And then Caleb, we followed each other forever, but I don't think we met until probably like 1 or 2 nationals ago, maybe something like that.
It was either at the national or maybe a Dallas card show.
Dallas, yeah. I was just wondering, like, how did you guys end up like linking up and kind of like working together? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the most common things. Obviously, like running the shop up here too, I get the same question a lot. Like, why is it DK Cards on the logo? Why isn't it CB Cards or something? And,
yeah, it's messed up, David.
Yeah, I met David honestly through some mutual friends that just did his group submission, and I started subbing some stuff through him. And then at the time, me and my wife were just getting married, and I needed some extra cash. So David's like, "You want to do like some work for me on the side?" And it kind of just evolved and grew from that. So we got our start kind of with any regular customer, and I respected David for what he did, and he obviously enjoyed me enough as a customer to ask me to help him out a little bit. So
yeah, it feels like a lot of what I've noticed in Caleb is that where one of us may have a weakness, the other is probably strong in that category. So he's kind of the yin to my yang, if you will. Like the things I don't really like to do, he can handle. The things he doesn't really like to do, I can handle. And together it feels like we're conquering a lot more than just 2 times as fast as I would.
Right.
So David, you were mentioning that from the time you started, it was kind of unheard of to take that leap into doing cards full time versus potentially now. So like in the last few years, obviously like with the COVID boom in cards and everything like that, what have you kind of noticed as far as like something that Kai and I have noticed is like when we're looking through cards like day to day, we're like, man, this young guy sells for what? And Peyton Manning sells for this, or, like we're just looking, like, for instance, we're looking at a Chris Paul autograph rookie card, right? Like from 2005 SP Authentic. It was like $300, right? And one of, like, I guess the worst decent prospects of basketball, of one of their worst cards, would be worth around 300, probably more. Like, where do you, like, from an investment standpoint, I guess, like, how where do you see it right now as far as like health of the hobby, and where do you see it kind of going?
I'll start. So in general, I'd say that I remember around that the boom you're talking about, a lot of us knew what wasn't sustainable. And a lot of us were not buying prism-based PSA 10s and Serena Williams rookies PSA 10s that
Right.
multiplied by 50 overnight. Like, a lot of us could see through that.
Right.
And that's why a lot of the people that were here before are still here, because they were, as big as your bankroll may be, knowledge is power. And that gives power to the collectors. Is, the more sets the more players the bigger advantage you have, versus if you just have $100,000 and know that Patrick Mahomes is good at football. It's a different game.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like kind of going off what David said. It's just like certain things seem so obvious, like when it just boomed, you're like, just look at it objectively. It's not gonna be like that. It's really exciting to see all these new people come in. And even when people like come into my shop or I'm at a show and you get like younger kids, like you want to be able to just fill them with your knowledge and try and help the best you can too. But like a lot of this and what we do is trial and error, and you kind of have to do things and you have to grade cards and be like, why did this get a 7? And yeah, I don't know. I just think a lot of the new people coming in with so much trial and error at one time that the market just went insane. And I think, like David said, there's just no way it was sustainable. And I think we're in a much healthier market now. And I think things have come down to earth, and we're seeing I think a big thing to remember with like these new prospects and stuff is people always want to buy what they're watching right now. And they'll put some of these other things on the back burner. I'm guilty of it at times too, where I'm like, I need more KG in my collection. I need more of the guys I grew up watching, Randy Moss. But we just get caught up and it's like, oh my gosh, look at what Ohtani's doing right now. I have to get a rookie card. This is insane. He's the best. So I think that is a huge factor in like why Chris Paul won't sell as much as like Quentin Grimes or someone. So
real quick, we're gonna chime it or cut you guys off for a second. We're gonna go in the next time period that's ending at 9:50 is gonna be oddball. So we got Queen Elizabeth's first card. We got an Albert Einstein rookie. We're actually going to be giving one away. A Nikola Tesla rookie. We got this one seems super undervalued right now. If you guys want to hop in, Run DMC SGC 95. I can't say that I've actually seen this one. It's the highest graded. If you guys are hip hop fans, that would probably be a big one. So we got oddball ending right now. So along with that, you guys were talking about seeing so Kai and I have been collecting since we were kids, right? I'm assuming like you guys have as well. You were talking about obvious things to avoid in the market, but let's say right now, I wouldn't call it a down market because when you look at it, it's kind of like it's still really inflated as opposed to 2017 or 2016. But what would you guys say are some maybe market opportunities that are current in today's market as far as stuff that people might want to hold on to or things that might seem undervalued as compared to scarcity, popularity, and how good of a player or a unique person, what would you guys say along those lines?
I know we'll have different answers. I'll let Caleb start.
Yeah, I kind of what I touched on a little bit is the whole Chris Paul versus what's happening right now. I think there is in this current market, right? We have the vintage, which sells crazy, the Mantles, the Mays, the Aarons, whatever it is. And then we have the really current stuff selling crazy. And I do think there's a 10, 15 year gap here that's really being missed out on. And there's just a ton of all-star rookies, numbered stuff. Personally speaking, I buy a lot of gold. So If it's Prism or something, obviously 10 or less. But I love Topps Chrome personally, so 50 or less or 99 or less. And to me, you see all these sets and whatever that sell so well now, like the PMGs and all, I could name 1,000, I'm sure, but like Crusade, I know David's a huge fan of Crusade. I just think like there's so many like all-star caliber players that sell for like nothing. And I'm like, a Chrome Gold number to 50 for $3. Yeah. Sign me up for all 50 of them,
Okay,
So I think that's a huge market opportunity right now. And I just enjoy it too. So
yeah.
I would say something that I don't hear talked about too much is everyone goes off of their comps, obviously, but something that can maybe help you find a hidden gem in plain sight is if the market is really dry and maybe it's a card that it's a Pop 2 PSA 10, there's a low comp on the 10, but you have one and there's none listed. You can list it for high. And if the person who really, really wants it goes after it, that's a way to make money. And that's part of what we've been hunting are the cards that we can list them on eBay in a dry market and not worry about them tanking
Right.
For the foreseeable future. And then just kind of establishing investments there, picking our spots, taking our losses, taking our wins, and sort of playing with, okay, we know this is safe and it has upside. That's kind of how we determine what to flip versus what to hold.
Makes sense. Kai and I just had a recent example of that. We bought a Bill Belichick autograph. What was the set? Do you remember?
It was playoff, I think. Donruss playoff. It
one of his only solo autos. Yeah. And we were basically saying, listen, if you want to buy it for this, you could buy it. And if not, we'll hold on to it. No problem. And someone paid extra for it because there's none available. And, a lot of people are sitting on it. So if we get our number, great. If we don't, we'll hold on to it. We should have bought that other one, though. But,
I think David bringing up the whole thing about comps, too, is so important because, like, yeah, you can see a base Prism PSA 10 all day, every day.
Yeah.
But like the thing that mind boggles me and that some people don't understand is like, how many times have you looked at an eBay sold list and you're like, oh my God, I wish I would have saw that. Or I wish I would have got my bid in.
Yeah.
Well, you already know you would have paid more.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be the only person on the planet who missed that listing. So yeah, I mean, just getting rare stuff that you can hold on to, be patient with, and hey, we love the rare stuff anyway. So worst comes to worst, it's in our collection. So,
and like you guys alluded to, like if you're a collector, what's really rare. Like there could be a million one of ones or whatever, but if you really follow it, follow what sets, like
sought after too, not just rare, but like the rare cards that people actually want.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I liked what you said about the Topps Chrome, Caleb, because there wasn't a lot of product back then on a lot of that kind of stuff. And to really get a gold out of there was incredibly difficult. So like when you're talking $2-3 for a gold of a decent player, I mean, can't really beat that.
Not going to lose.
Yeah. Do you have another question for him, Kai?
Yeah, kind of like sort of talking about that with the shop and what you guys do on a day-to-day. How do you... when you get stuff in, whether you buy from a customer online, like in bulk, how do you decide what you guys keep or hold and what you guys put back out to try to recoup some like money to keep the business running?
Caleb can take that.
Yeah, I do a lot of local shows in Minnesota too. So I'm traveling almost every weekend, seeking out inventory, whether it's like buying raw to grade or just going to someone's table and being like, what does $5,000 get me or whatever, just trying to cash some people out while still leaving opportunities for us. But, first things first, like if they're slabbed up, obviously that's a whole different story. But going through the raw stuff, I actually send a lot of stuff down to David. He'll kind of evaluate for grading and we kind of make some decisions based off that too. But with owning a shop, you have to keep so much flowing. If you're not flowing, you're not growing, I guess, not to like make some
nice.
That was sick.
Bars.
It is the truth though. Like it's so important. And you do have to make like a lot of hard decisions too, where you're like, man, I really enjoy like everything I bought, like I bought 200 cards, but another big thing is you got to buy a lot of stuff you don't necessarily like yourself. Like I'm not a huge fan of Downtowns or Kabooms or to be honest, a lot of this new prospecting stuff, I like waiting for a guy to be like 3-4 years in where I can see him a lot. And, typically speaking, the market's down from his rookie year. So you do have to buy a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily want just because other people want it.
Right.
But yeah, once you get to a certain point where it's like, one of the best examples I have is an elder gentleman. He called me, I can't remember, it must have been in his 80s. And it sounded like he only had like 1980s and 90s cards. And we went up there and it was the biggest inventory deal me and David have ever done. I was like calling him, shaking at the guy's house. I'm like, dude, this guy has way more than I thought he would.
Right.
And, I think at the time it was like a $13,000 lot. And again, I was just like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And, once you sell enough, then you can like sit back and be like, well, we broke even and we still have whatever amounts left. And you can kind of make some more decisions on that where you can kind of diversify a portfolio. So you don't have too many eggs in one market necessarily, because every sport's different, every player's different. So yeah, I think that's probably the game plan is usually get our money back and figure out the rest after. So
pretty much, yeah.
Good answer. Yeah. So like at what point did you guys decide you wanted to open up a brick and mortar store rather than just like dealing online and in shows?
You want to take that, Dave?
Sorry, you cut out. Could you say that again?
Sorry. Yeah. At what point did you decide to open up a brick and mortar store rather than just like dealing online and in person, like at shows and whatnot?
Yeah. So part of it was an opportunity presented itself in Caleb's grandparents had this building right in the middle of Main Street of his hometown. And they've been renting it out to some realtor people, and their lease was coming up, and we got the opportunity to get it at a rate that you can only get through a family discount.
Right.
And just to essentially plant our roots in that small town and make ourselves sort of a staple there, as well as just to have a place for Caleb to go and work that doesn't have 2 children under 5 running around, but gives a place for people to come in, to know where to find us, to make deals, and just to kind of like we hosted a signing at the shop that featured a hometown hero. So just being able to be a part of the community in little ways like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we got basketball ending here.
We have a couple minutes.
Do we?
We'll hit you guys
30
with
minutes?
one more to close it off.
Yeah.
For each of you guys, whoever wants to start first, if you guys could go back in time, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, and think of like one piece of advice you've kind of learned throughout, whether it's opening up the grading, opening up the card store, just collecting, a piece of advice that you would tell yourself from back then, what would it be?
Okay, cheat answer is buy Giannis and Jokic.
What about
Wait,
Luka?
Mahomes, Luka? No.
David already bought Luka, man.
Oh, that's right.
Fair
I was
enough,
telling
fair
me you
enough.
bought a lot of Luka early, David. What made along with this question, what made you go in on Luka early?
I mean, the talent that I saw, and I was lucky just because I wouldn't have watched as many games of him. He just happened to be on my favorite team.
Mhm.
But as someone who had been working a lot in just investing in young basketball players, I thought, I'm like, does everyone else not see this? Like, this guy's going to be top 5 in the league soon. And he was priced at, I don't know, relatively cheap, especially for back then. But to me, it was more of a long-term investment that happened to blow up quicker in the meantime. But I just saw the talent and felt like it was just a matter of time.
Makes sense.
Going back to your question, the 5 to 10 year question. I really, really struggled with like what I wanted to do with my life. Like I was forcing myself to go to college. And then I got married at a relatively young age. And then the pressure got added because we got pregnant with our first son really quick too. And I'm just sitting there struggling with so much, like, what do I want to do? And if I could just go back and show myself like, hey, dude, like you love cards. You've always loved cards. You can do this for a living and you can believe in yourself. And honestly, that's the only thing I would have been, or I would go back and tell myself aside from like buying Giannis and all this stuff, is just believe in yourself, take the leap, and don't worry about, because you're gonna face a lot of adversity. Just keep doing what you think's right, So I would just say, go for it. That's really it. I wish I would have started doing what I do as a business earlier. That's pretty much it.
That's a great answer right there.
I would say the biggest thing that I've learned is that and this comes with as you get more informed as a collector and have a better sense of, oh, well, every single time you win or lose, you make a mental note and you get a little bit better. You get a little bit more accurate, and just trusting my gut in that sense. If I have to talk myself into a deal, I don't know if I should really be making it. If it doesn't make sense to me, if I'm not sure, and just, a lot of times, the times when I have been unsure, I've gotten burned. And when I have been sure, it's gone well. And just learning to trust yourself and to allow yourself to make mistakes. Do you guys know of anyone who's never lost money on a card?
No.
And
I know people that have lost a lot of money on cards.
I feel like a lot of people like they found this magic formula that I can never lose with my magic formula. So just the reality that you will lose. It's okay.
David, do you have an example of when you've thought you felt something in your gut, but you didn't kind of go with the deal because you were maybe scared or maybe afraid, too much money, not sure on it, and it ended up just panning out, and you kind of wish you would have went with it, went with your gut? Or do you kind of let that get out of your memory?
I mean, I definitely try not to think about it because I've definitely accepted it as if I held everything, I'd be broke. So,
right.
It's not that simple. If I would have held on my Mahomes, I probably would have held on my Trubisky too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. But I remember this was such a vivid, a core memory that taught me, if I think something should grade, I should definitely grade it. It was a LeBron Jordan dual on-card auto from UD Black. And it was raw. And I had a buddy look over it, and he's like, nah, man, I don't think it's going to gem. And then I dealt it, and it pristined. I made my 150, but that one kind of felt like a shotgun to the chest. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, man, that's tough.
But that's the nature of the beast. Everyone has that story,
I mean, maybe not LeBron.
Well, not that
Jordan,
but BGS 10ing. Oh God.
Everyone has a deal that keeps them up at night.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm glad you're still with us standing here after that one. That's tough. But I'm sure you've had some big wins too, going with your gut.
It's all balancing.
Yep.
You got anything else, Kai?
I don't think so. You guys have been awesome, man.
Appreciate the time.
I appreciate you guys for joining.
Do you guys want to shout out your card shop? There's someone here named James. He said, sounds like Minnesotans to me, wanting to hold KG and Randy Moss. So.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's big time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a nice Christian Ponder too, hit me up.
Oh, you got the #1 Christian Ponder collection or what?
I used to.
Used to.
If I had a biggest regret, it's actually selling my Ponder PC, which just sounds so crazy. I've sold BGS 1010 select gold Joel Embiid rookie auto, that for $200.
Right.
It's probably 20,000 or something crazy. But I just miss my Ponders, man.
One of my mine, and I'll speak for myself, but one of the pickups that I picked up with Kai recently, that's one of my absolute favorites. We actually picked up 2 of them because we were like, this is too good of a deal. We bought a debut ticket to Adrian Peterson's first game, PSA 10 on one of them. It's a pop 20 something, and then we bought a PSA 910 auto of his debut ticket. We love AP, so he's super undervalued. I used to own 2 NTs, and I set them at such a ridiculous price. And I went to a show, and someone offered. I think I paid $500 for each of them, and someone offered me $1,000. I was like, pass, sorry. I'm holding on to these, and then they ended up offering me $3,000 for both of them, and I was like, I don't know. I kind of regret still selling them, but because they're so hard to find, they never come up. But yeah, and at least back then they actually wore the jerseys and they didn't just like throw them at them or look at them. You know, they were actually like play or worn at the premiere, so at least some significance to it, right? But anyway, we gotta thank you guys for coming on. You want to shout out your shop one more time for anyone that's listening? And
yeah, go ahead, Dave.
All right, yeah, we are on 512 7th Avenue in Main Street, in Crosby. We got our storefront up there. We're running BGS submissions every single Thursday. We have consignments pretty much every weekend. Buying, selling, trading, grading, doing it all.
Best BGS subs in the game.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, you got it.
Well, looking forward to seeing you guys probably at National.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Nice meeting you guys.
Are you guys set up?
No, not this year.
Walking?
We'll be walking though.
Nice.
Long story. Yeah.
Stop by booth TBA.
Yeah,
That'll be
TBA.
We'll be there.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All
right, guys. Appreciate it.
Later, you guys.
All right. Well, man, good. Just like we thought. I mean, great conversations to start, right? I mean, like, you know, like I loved Caleb's answer about just like how like if he could change anything, he would have just went all in early. I mean, that's just kind of gave me a little bit of chills because I'm thinking about selfishly, I'm just thinking about myself and just man, like all the times I thought about going all in, and you know, now like as of late, probably going all in on everything. It's kind of inspiring and just really cool. Good conversations. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I've known David since I was like 13, and to see that he's opened a card store with Caleb's crazy. I would have never in a million years thought that like any of us would have opened a card store or anything. I mean, he did the Beckett submissions forever. He still does them. He's great at them. But see where far they've come is crazy and awesome to see for people.
It's refreshing too, just to see that they just love cards.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see. I mean, it's weird. Like David mentioned, like how like cards have kind of changed from like the passionate collector to, you know, doing the day-to-day flips, and it's just refreshing to see someone that just like actually like really loves cards that's doing
for
it
sure.
day-to-day.
Yeah, to see it turn into a business from just liking it day to day is awesome.
Yeah. So what do we got next round before we bring on our next guest?
So next round ending at 10:10, we have
10:15
or
right?
10:15 or 10:15 we have football.
Low end
football.
So cheaper, affordable. We got like a lot of like the modern guys. So like Justin Fields. I like that the zebra is nice. Yeah. So you have that one up $610. We also have some Kurt Warners. Did you see those ones? Yeah, we got a Kurt Warner. Show the contenders.
Yeah, this is your card, right?
Yeah, that's actually mine.
That's
so the only reason I sold this one is because I have the champ ticket one.
Yeah.
So
those ones are like numbered, right? The champs.
Yeah, these are supposed to be short printed to 1525, and they don't really come up very often. The champs numbered to like 100, so like that was the only one I've ever seen in person. So got a little bit of everything right now. Mostly a lot of the younger guys, but some Kurt Warner mixed in there. A Tom Brady jersey gold, that one's nice. PSA 8.
Davis Mills, everyone's favorite.
Man, so should we introduce our next guest?
Yeah, I think we're still waiting on Mikey, so we can maybe talk about trade night or what you expect to get out of the National, some of those topics real quick.
Yeah, National. Like I said this on Sold Too Early, but I think my main goal is just to meet a lot of like people that we meet connections with. Like I can't wait to meet David and Caleb now, just after talking to them, like just guys that maybe you knew that I didn't know in the past. Like I said, I was kind of a closet collector. Like I was like collecting since I was a kid, but had no idea this whole world was open, and just kind of meeting more people that are just involved in just, I think for me, I'm going to focus more on the relationships this year than probably like the deals. I mean, obviously we're going to be set up. We want to make some money, but for me, I'm going to try to meet as many people as possible.
Yeah, I think if you're going to the National, not spending time like getting to know people, I don't want to see you're wasting your time, but you're not taking full advantage of it, I would say. Because there's so many people there that you wouldn't have an opportunity to normally meet, whether it's just a peer that you meet that also collects the same player as you, someone who's maybe like in the same lane as you. Maybe they collect football, you like football. Maybe it's someone who's ahead of an industry that you want to say hi to, see what's going on. Maybe give them a tip, something you thought of that could be awesome, or just any of those. I mean, you're not going to get that chance just DMing someone online. Maybe they won't respond to you, or I don't know, maybe you don't know each other, you don't follow each other. So just meeting them in person, I think really is probably the best thing you can get out of the national, just making connections, saying hi. Don't be shy. People, I mean, I was shy my first national, probably like just say hi to someone, see what their Instagram is. If they have Facebook, if you've made a deal before, you might have made a deal with them and you don't even know.
Yeah.
So
you, along with that, you might run into someone that's not willing to give you their time. But there's been, even when I first started, I was like, I would go around and pick like Jamil from Shop Millie Pops. I had to wait a little bit, but I knew he was big, so I waited a little bit and asked him questions. And I've gotten some of the best advice I've ever gotten on, like, some people might not be willing to share their time or energy. Like, I'm sure if we're not slammed, we're going to be willing to talk to anyone that comes up to us. Yeah, I would just say try. And if there's going to be a lot of, maybe some people that aren't willing to give you their time, but some people will, and it could change how you collect. It could change, like, I don't want to go super extreme, but it could change your life. I mean, if you want to get more involved in cards and you talk to someone that gives you some really good advice, I mean, yeah. And then should we bring Tyler on? I'll bring him on. Let's bring Tyler on. Tyler, are you ready?
Give us a nod, Tyler.
You're big enough that mustache, dude, is so sweet. Oh, right. And it's not even November, but we got Tyler Hot Corner 1326 on with us. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing well, man. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Dude, yeah. I'm always excited to talk to you. You always have some great stuff to say. Thanks for coming on. Give us a quick thought on the national. What's your kind of strategy, and what are you looking forward to most?
I feel you definitely do need to have a strategy. That's something that I've learned my lesson on a couple of times in the past. Like, I've like completely wasted like the first couple of days just being overwhelmed, like walking around and like I'm looking for like my type of stuff, and like I'll like keep like mental notes on where stuff is. But overall, like it's hard to see every single table as somebody who does more walking around than setting up. I try to like I get so many steps in every single show, but the nationals, like, my feet like hurt at the end of it. But it's just overwhelming if you don't go in with a plan. And I was listening to you guys talk beforehand, and it's something that I've been really bad at in the past is just like making sure I talk to the right people, or just like make conversations with people who I've been wanting to like get to know a little deeper, like, for a long time. Like, I've been like friends with them on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and just, I don't know, being too business minded the entire time.
You're too busy buying like 52 mazes and all that. Speaking of that, Troy, yeah, we have a 52 maze ending tonight. SGC 5 PWC top 15%. So to answer your question, but yeah, so Tyler, when you're talking about a plan, when you're walking, do you like pick a spot in the venue and kind of just follow a certain path? Or I know that might sound weird to most people, but I used to be a big walker too. And what I had to tell myself was, I'm going to pick a spot and go in an exact direction. I don't know if you're the same or if you have a different kind of strategy. I'd be interested to hear, like, if you're walking, what kind of like your path would be, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Sometimes my ADD kind of kicks in and takes over, but and then I gotta like get distracted. I see something over there that I want to go look at. But you do need to like stick to the map, I guess, that you kind of lay out for yourself. Just like, all right, I'm gonna like make every turn this way and kind of like snake through, rather than go down one way. Like, I'll end up seeing somebody I want to say hi to, and then I'll forget what row I was at. But at the end of the day, like, it is important to make sure that you go through and make sure you try not to miss any booths, which it's going to be an even bigger venue this year than it's been in the past. So it's going to be insane. It might be so much that it's hard to see every single booth, like even over 5 days.
I was going to say, I feel like that's one thing people don't really talk about, is when you're walking around, you either find a booth that has stuff you like, or you see a card you like, and maybe you want to walk around first before you make a deal. Like, remembering where those cards are can be so tough, especially at the national. I don't know. Do you do something special, Tyler, where you maybe like take a picture, like write the booth number down or something? What do you do?
I text myself. I have like a chain that I like text myself through, and I'll like take a picture of the card and then take a picture, and then type the booth number, and then if like it's somebody I know, type their name or something like that, or like a price, just so I know to come back to it. But and then at the end of the day, like I'll go over those and like do any deeper research that I feel needs to be done, and then come back the next day prepared.
So before Mikey gets on, I've always noticed about you, like, and Mikey as well, but we'll talk about you for now. You've focused on like some of the most unique things, like, so you like kind of go away from, I guess, like the modern type of like hottest guy. Like maybe you do a little bit of it. I've seen like you do some baseball and stuff like that. But for instance, you just gave us like 2 of the highest graded Mario games, right? Like to put on buy it now consignment. So you had like the Mario Kart and the original Nintendo 64 highest graded. What made you kind of like go towards that kind of more unique stuff? And maybe I won't say away from the modern, because I think you still kind of touch on modern type of stuff, but I've seen a lot of like Manals and Maze and like unique football, unique video games, just stuff that you don't see every day. What made you kind of like go into that lane?
So I do dabble with the modern stuff here and there, especially if it's something that I'm like trading for. In most cases, I'll just take like value where I see it if I'm trading for it. But the stuff that I target, um, I feel like if you think something is cool and you don't see it a lot, you're probably not the only one, and that there's going to be there's going to be somebody out there that's willing to like, pay up a little bit for it. And so it's just a matter of finding the right buyer. And I get a lot of satisfaction of like stuff that I have going to end collectors and getting stashed away in a PC. And that's why I deal with a lot of like the Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, cut auto type stuff. And I like time after time, I feel like that stuff goes to its forever home. And I think that's pretty cool. And so I'm really open to like whatever I take from that standpoint. But I don't know. I feel like you walk around shows and like I go to as many shows. I'm not going to say more than anybody, but I'm definitely up there as far as traveling goes.
It's because you have all those the airline miles, right?
That's why. Southwest loves and hates me. Yeah, that's a separate discussion. But
Tyler, we're gonna add Mikey on real quick, and then I'm gonna ask you a solo question, and then I'm gonna repeat the last question to Mikey because he kind of follows on. You ready, Mikey? We're gonna add you on real quick. What's up, Mikey? How you doing?
Nobody told me that asshole would be with me.
You pointed the wrong way, dickhead.
What's up, guys?
So this is Mikey from Mikey's _cards for audio listeners whenever we have it. I'm going to ask Tyler one more question because I had an individual question for Tyler, and then we're going to get right back into you, Mikey. Tyler, you golf a lot, right? What do you say to people that say that you focus too much on the greens and not enough on making green? What do you say to those people?
I say 4 hours of hard work is a lot better than 8 hours of mediocre work. And what I do after that,
boom. Oh, the sports card mantra right there. I love that. That's awesome.
I love the ability to create my own hours, and I play a lot of golf.
I'm glad you said that to all the people that are saying that.
Yeah.
I feel like you should adjust it for sports cards. Be like 1.5 hours worth of work is more important.
Yeah, right. I listed 10 items on eBay this morning. I was exhausted.
So, Mikey, what we were touching on with Tyler. So basically, we were saying like both of you guys kind of focus on like more unique items. Like I know for you, you have like a lot of Hall of Fame autos and like just like a lot of on card cuts, stuff like that. We were kind of wondering, like, so like in today's kind of like card sphere, like in that we're in, I guess, like where we're looking at a lot of like younger people that are like flipping like almost 100% like modern, like season to season, but you're like more unique, like both of you guys are, and you've kind of like paved your own path that's worked really, really well. Like what made you go along those lines rather than like focusing more on like I don't want to say what everyone's focusing on because that's not true, but you seem to like have paved your own sort of path that's worked really well. What made you go along like your buying and selling kind of path?
No, that's a great question. I'd say the one thing that kind of draws me to the kind of the stuff that I do is mostly obviously the uniqueness of it, and then also in like the learning aspect of it. You know, I feel like Tyler can attest to the same thing, is that there's no better feeling because we've both been doing this, all four of us been doing this for such a long time that you see the new stuff and it's kind of the same stuff every year. Another year of Dynasty, another year of Topps Finest, stuff like that. It's cool and all, but the coolest thing to me is when I see a cut auto or I see a bat knob from like some set in like 2003 that I didn't even know existed. And that's really cool to me because I'm just like, whoa, this card came out of nowhere. I didn't even know this freaking thing existed. Let me go do some more research because I want to find out. I want to find the people who know about this. I want to like find out more about this set. Has this even sold? Like, is there even a picture of this on the internet? Like, this happened to be the other day. Like, I saw a Ruth auto and I'm like, I didn't even know this card existed out there. I want to buy it because I know people like me are going to have that connection to it, are going to feel the same way I did when they see it for the first time. They're going to be like, whoa, that's cool. That's not something you see every day.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, so like along those lines, like, is there anything that you guys like personally collect or that, that you've like picked up that you were just like, I can't let this go? Like, and like what's kind of led you to like out of all the stuff? Cause like I see Mikey, like, and Tyler, like I see your guys' stories. I'm just like, oh, you guys move stuff sometimes so fast. Like, so obviously like you're picking up like a ton of inventory. So like what makes you see something? And if you do like collect or hold, like what goes into that thought process?
You want to go first, Mikey?
Sure. I mean, I mine's short and sweet. I always joke if his name isn't Montrezl Harrell, I don't keep it. That's my only stuff I PC. I have a pretty big Montrezl Harrell collection at this point. Have all of them, never sold a single one. Let's just say it wasn't a positive investment, so it's not worth it to sell.
It was definitely an investment.
Yeah, but
didn't he go like really like stupid hard in one of the Olympics? Like, was that Montrezl Harrell? No, that was Kenneth Fareed. Never mind. Sorry. I almost gave
I think I might have paid the most for I paid like $900 for a Montrezl Harrell card at one point.
Did you ever have the black 101 or no?
No, I'm looking for it. I heard it was in Australia or something like that.
What made you collect them?
Me and my girlfriend at the time, now wife, were like watching the Clippers, and for some reason, like he was a sixth man. I think he was in contestant for sixth man of the year that year, and we just we both bonded watching the Clippers, and it just reminded me of it. I love collecting him. He's such a, why? At the end of the day, he's a really cheap player to collect. That reminds me of like me watching the Clippers and being really excited about it. Mm-hmm. And he's dirt cheap. You can buy really cool cards of his for like nothing. I like the feeling of getting an NT RPA that has like 6 patches for like $50,
right? And
not having to spend $50,000 on one. So that's kind of why. But yeah, I mean, as far as getting nice stuff and wanting to hold it, you always have that idealistic sense of, I want to hold this. This is so cool. You're never going to find another one until someone comes along and offers you a lot of money for it, and then you just end up selling it.
Right. What do you got, Tyler?
I'm kind of in the same camp. Like, I saw a comment on some Instagram posts talking about how like somebody was getting all mad about somebody bought what was at the time their dream card, and then like 3 months later they sold it, and so somebody kind of like ripped them apart for it.
I'm doing it tonight. I mean, I'm selling my Maze 52. I never thought I'd sell it, and I believe in what Kai and I are doing. So I'm like, I'd rather have the cash. And I made this comment on Sold Too Early. I was like, I would have never thought I would say this, but I wish I would have held the Trevor Lawrence's that I sold and sold that Maze if it came down to it. I mean, financially, it would have been, I could have had a cracked ice and an NT that went up 50% rather than having a beautiful 52 Maze. But that's just kind of where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
kind of a tough balance.
Yeah, it is for sure.
I don't know if we've ever asked or if anyone's ever asked, but how did you guys each like get started in cards? I don't know who wants to go first, but
I'll let Tyler go first.
We'll let you guys start.
So I've been doing it off and on for a really long time. My friend group growing up used to like get together and like do games with like cards, and but I didn't really start taking it like seriously until like 2019-ish, which outstanding timing. Like I was in college, and so I didn't have a ton of free time, but like I would still go to shows and stuff whenever it was convenient for me to. Like I remember like it was yesterday, that national, where like I was driving up to Chicago for like that Thursday or whatever, and then I get a text saying like, hey, they're not letting people in, like they should shut it down. I was like, yeah, wow, okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, I've been off and on for a long time. My brothers used to collect, and I used to I wound up with the cards that they had. But I feel like I've known how like the inner workings of kind of like how like why things are worth what they are for a while, and it's just a matter of just putting the pieces together. And I've always been I pride myself on being a pretty good negotiator, and that comes in handy. So yeah,
Can confirm.
Me too.
What do you got, Mikey?
I feel like I'm kind of the opposite on that of most people, where they say they kind of go back on and off. I've been doing this consistently for probably, oh gosh, I'm gonna feel old now, probably like 11 to 12 years.
Oh wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I took one break to finish up my master's for like 2 or 3 months, but that was about it. Yeah, I started my friend back in middle school. He got me into it. And he was, back then, you were buying like $5-10 cards. But you could actually get cool cards back then, for $5 to $10.
Yeah.
And I remember both of us kind of like would go to shows and we try to kind of compete with each other. Back before it was kind of cool too. This was back in like 2012, 2013. And we'd go to shows and we'd have like $100 each, like all the money we kind of had. And we'd just be like, we'd kind of show each other like, hey, look what I got. I got this Eli Manning card. Like, crap, now I got to go like one up him and kind of be like this one up thing. And we tried to keep doing it. It was really fun because we'd get together. I'd bring my cards over to his house. We'd make a trade and then like go back to my house. And there was no social media back then. There was nobody like, I mean, maybe there was, but I wasn't really involved into it until like maybe the 2015, 2016 range. And we were just kind of doing it for the fun of it. Going to the card shows up in New York, going to like some local card shops that existed back then. And he eventually came out of, went out of cards, became a real person, went to college, got a job. And I kept just doing cards, I never stopped doing it. He sold his whole collection. And I guess I just never stopped, a decade later, just still doing the same thing I was doing back in 2012, flipping cards to get cooler cards.
Awesome. We're going to touch up on this again. We're going to do a quick plug here. We got baseball ending at 10:30. I guess number one, Tyler, you might like this one. We got 52 Mays, top 15% eye appeal. We got a Mike Trout rookie auto 9.5 refractor, boom. And then we got one of the hottest players in baseball right now, Ellie De La Cruz. Bunch of other stuff. You guys can check the link in our bio, JOCU Sports Cards, and then we got a bunch of other auctions ending soon. So along with that, guys, what's something that you've really learned and picked up since you like kind of started? So Mikey, you've been in it for over 10 years now, and Tyler, you said you've been in it for a while as well. So like, what's something you've really learned and that you'd want to like, I guess like some GOAT knowledge, I guess you could say, that you could pass on, not just to like who's listening, but to me and Kai as well. Like, what's something that you've kind of picked up along the way that, that you think that it's an important lesson?
Oh, I got a good one. Because I still battle with this all the time. And I like to think I'm better at it now than I was back then, but know the difference, don't have FOMO, but know the difference between FOMO and missing out on a good deal. A lot of times people will buy something just for I need to make a deal, or I need to get something done, or they'll go to a show and they might not think it lives up to their expectations. So they'll make a bad deal to compensate, just to say, oh, I got something done. And then later they realize, I just did that out of the sake of wanting to show others I did something.
Right.
Know the difference between that and actually passing up a good deal. Be smart. Always think ahead to the future. What are your plans with this card? Especially if you're getting into the ranges of now like $20, $30, $40,000 for cards, always have an out strategy. When I bought cards originally, I spent 30 grand on them, and I'd be like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. Who am I gonna sell this to? always think kind of, do I have an end game for this card? Am I actually going to keep it? That's if you're a collector. Do I plan on keeping this? Or if I do want to sell this one day, who am I going to sell it to? Am I just buying this for the sake of buying it? And because I'm afraid I'm going to not be able to find another card. If I've learned anything, it's that there's always another card to buy. There's an unlimited supply.
That's really good. Like kind of going off of that, the one thing that I just can't stress enough that I've gotten a lot better at over the last couple of years, and I feel like I've really taken strides because of it, is just trusting your gut. When we've all had those instances where you go to a show, like you pass up on a deal, but it's in the back of your head, and then right when you go back to the table, it's gone.
Oh,
And I couldn't tell you how many times that happened to me in like 2021. I just could not, for whatever reason, get myself to pull the trigger on stuff that I believed in. And that's what I really like started doing well in 2022, is just kind of like, yeah, I feel like I know my stuff. I know I feel like this is a good deal. I feel like I've got an out for it. Like Mikey was mentioning, I've got a plan for it. So, I mean, just, I don't know, have some balls, I guess. But that doesn't mean go out and spend your life savings on the first Trevor Lawrence RPA you see. But that just means more so like, I don't know, in a responsible way, just trust your gut and believe in what you're doing.
Kind of going off that, how do you guys sort of manage your cash flow? Like how much cap you have to work with, like when it comes to holding a card you think you might be able to make more on versus taking profit right away and moving on, recycling your inventory? Like how do you guys manage that?
It's a difficult balance, that's for sure.
Yeah. There's a thing in stocks called a stop loss, which I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's pretty much like you could set a certain stop loss. We say hey, if this dips below this point, I am selling it no matter what my feelings are about if it's going to go back up or if it's going to go down or whatever, I have to sell. So it kind of mitigates your risk. And I feel like not enough people do that with sports cards. They always kind of hold out that hope, like, oh, it's going to go back up. He's going to have a good season, or, the market's going to turn. It's like, nope. If you set a stop loss, it's something I've implemented the past year or two. It's like, if you set a stop loss of 10%, you're never losing more than 10%.
Yeah.
Smart.
I need to do that more. That's only really gotten me, bit me in the ass a couple times, but man, Luka Doncic.
You learned that lesson the hard way.
Oh man, did he fall apart. But yeah, it's really hard to balance. But as far as knowing how much you should go into a show, willing to spend, is that more am I getting the question kind of right?
Kind of just overall, if you have inventory and you're like, oh, I could make 10% on it right now, but do I need the money? Do I need to recycle it back into new stuff, or can I hold out for 50%? Like that kind of battle.
Sure. With modern stuff, I feel like as soon as you see the ability to take a profit, take it. But on a lot of the stuff that me and Mikey, I feel deal with a lot, that Babe Ruth cut auto type of stuff, I'm willing to hold out on a lot more, just because I feel that type of stuff, you're gonna find the right person eventually. With as many shows as me and him go to, we'll come across that person that makes sense, and we get the number that we want to get. If we have to come down a little bit, that is what it is. But I taking tiny profits, I guess, right away it's fine, it's great, but I don't know. I'm way more willing to hold out on stuff like that, because if I end up holding it for 6 months, great. I freaking love that stuff. That's the type of stuff that I love to collect. And it's just, while I'm not getting it to hold it, I do appreciate owning it, and it's fun for me. And I'm sure it goes the same for you. But.
Yeah, exactly. I think it goes to your point. It's nobody wants to spend $40,000 to make $400. It's it's nice and all, but
Wood said that he'll buy a $50,000 card and sell it for $50,500, and he's like, people might think I'm crazy. I was like, that would stress me out so bad, but it adds up. It adds up. I don't know. He's doing something right.
If I've met one person who impresses, yeah, he's his own. People always ask me who impresses you. Because it's Tyler and I do this. I like to think at a fairly high level, but there are some people Woods impresses me.
He does.
a lot when it
We
comes
were
to
talking
like.
about his energy. We were like, I don't think no matter how we could get really smart at this, but no matter what, I don't think we'll ever get to Woods' level of energy of moving around
Nope.
the show.
Nope.
I thought I had a high motor for a while until I watched him like at a show for a while, and I'm like, wow.
I bet I could
Yeah.
do it, but I'd have to be on some like interesting substances.
Yeah,
in
I
order
need
to-
like 3 monsters and a gram of coke in order to keep up with the Woods. You know.
I wasn't gonna say it, but that's basically what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, do you guys have like one card that you wish you would have held? Like, I know Crystal Ball, but even just to like still have that you've sold in the past. Like, is there something that you wish, like, other than maybe like a prison, like a Giannis or like a, I don't know, a Luka or whatever? Like, is there anything else that you guys wish you would have held?
I think Mikey knows my answer.
Trying to think
I
of
sold it
another
to
one.
him.
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
The
what it is.
Jackie.
Yeah, the Jackie Triple Threads 101.
I'll never forgive myself.
9.510. And I sold that way too cheap too. Yeah, Tyler sold me a card that is just one of the most gorgeous Jackie Robinson cut autos you'll ever see. And he sold it to me for like dirt cheap back in like 2020 before the pandemic and before cards kind of took off. And I ended up flipping it. I think I made like some money on it. But yeah, I think Tyler probably has a picture of it.
Yeah, I'm looking. Oh, I think I came back like a week later and asked like, "Hey, do you still have it?" It was gone
Yeah.
already.
That was before I even really knew him that well. I think I like the one card that I guess financially, because there's been so many like cool cards that I've had that I can't really pinpoint one for like looks wise that I wanted to keep and like upset I moved. But financially, I remember January, I think it was December. Yes, no, my apologies. It was August of 2019. And I had spent $5,000 on a Kobe Topps-Chrome Refractor BGS 9.
Ooh.
And at the time, 2019, I was
Yeah.
a college kid. I had saved up all my internship money. This was everything in my savings account. And I remember telling my girlfriend at the time, going like, "Hey, I just dropped my entire savings on this base basketball card, but I'm handing this off to my kid. Like, this is gonna be like a family heirloom. It's gonna go up so much. Like, I have faith in this card because I know, like, maybe 2 years ago, this was like a $4,000 card or something like that. Not expecting like obviously the insane returns we expect today. And obviously everything happened with the pandemic and Kobe's passing, and I didn't sell it for months after that. And I remember I flipped it maybe like 5 months into the pandemic for like $15,000. And here I am, I made 10 grand. I thought I was like a financial guru. I'm sitting here like, look at me. You guys all laughed at me for spending my life savings on a sports card. Watching me now. And then like 2 or 3 months later, the card hit like 80 grand or something like that. And I was just like, you know what? I made money, so
I was gonna say I remember that card around like 70, 80, man. That's
And then no one ever lost money making a profit, but like it's one thing you just wish you held for just a little bit longer.
yeah.
Sold too early.
Oh yeah, dude,
Yeah.
definition, man.
I've got one really bad sold too early, but like as far as like just like financial aspect aside, like as far as just like cards go, I don't know. Is the glare kind of bad?
You can't really see it.
Yeah, we could kind of see your phone.
It's a Jackie Robinson cut, but it spells out game changer
Oh,
in game use bat.
there we go.
Wow.
Yeah, hold it like that. Oh my god, that's sick. Bats or jerseys?
Bats,
It's
unfortunately.
bat, but it was a 959, and I've always
It was a
been
10 auto.
huge.
It was a 10 auto.
Was it a 10 auto?
No, it wasn't a
It
10
should
auto,
have
but
been.
it was a 10 auto. It was one of
It's
those.
because it just like goes off just a hair, but like as far as I'm a huge triple threads guy. I always have been. It's like my
Same.
nostalgic
Oh, it's so cool.
product, and just I don't know, throwing game changer on there was like so cool to me. But yeah, I needed the money at the time, and that's what happens.
You had to guess how many.
Kai's stories are like, yeah, I bought this at the perfect time and sold it at the perfect time. Like he never has like oh yeah, I paid for my college. I bought a Tom Brady Contenders when it bottomed out and sold it when it was at its absolute peak. Tyler's showing us a Mahomes NT with like a nasty patch.
Oh, the
man,
captain's patch
so
too,
nice.
with the C.
Have I told you what I sold it for though?
I think you told
at
me.
the time. I bought it for
Yeah.
$1,800. and I sold it for $3,000 2 weeks later.
Hey, that's a good flip.
You made money. Almost.
At
done.
one
That's a
point,
good-
that was like a $600,000 or $700,000 card at one point.
Ugh.
But
It just makes you sick. It really
it is what it
does.
is. It doesn't even matter.
There's no way around it. Like you can always be like the Warren Buffett, like, oh, I take the profit, but then it's like I
Right.
have this in my hands and it was worth. You know what's funny? Like when I was out of college, I got back into cards, so I'm similar like to the people that you're talking about, Mikey. And I remember having a conversation with my dad saying, I read this article on Forbes. Sports cards and memorabilia outpace the stock market, real estate, collectible cars, yada, yada, yada. I want to buy the safest thing possible. I want to buy a Jordan Fleer PSA 10. At the time, they were $20,000. And what'd they get up to? Freaking 500?
700, I think.
700,000.
Yeah, something ridiculous. I
And
remember
was
being
so
in
close.
Dallas.
He's
when
like,
they-
oh, it's cardboard. You don't. So that's why, I mean, you always, it's a tough one, but it's always tough when you had it, like, especially with you guys, you had it in your actual hands. That's tough. I don't mean to rub it in. I'm sorry.
No, listen, for every
I don't know.
failure, there's a success,
I
Like-
get the paid stuff. I mean, when you're flipping as much as you guys, it's bound to happen. Like when you're, because then there's the other side. I mean, how many people have held Mitchell Trubisky or whoever else? And I'm not just saying that because Tyler looks like him, but today, but.
Not the first time I've got it.
But yeah, I mean, there's always the other side of the coin, right? I mean, I'm sure if you guys held like everything overall, I mean, most likely like the stuff that you flipped would outpace that, I would think, right? I mean,
Not that one, but yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's so funny. It's it's everyone always says like woulda, shoulda, coulda. But for every Cinderella story, there's a story of someone who's got a huge Deshaun Watson PC, who's got a huge Mitch Trubisky PC, Michael Carter Williams PC. Yeah.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, those psychopaths out there.
Matt Leinart, Vince Young. What do you got there?
Not the Mariotas.
Oh,
Marcus
Mariota.
God.
I love that set. That is actually low key.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite cards of all
What's
time.
that? So
15 finest.
15 finals.
Those atomic die cuts.
So
yeah,
nice.
Let's cut in real quick because we got a lot. We got high end modern football ending here in about 3 minutes. So first, this is one of my favorite cards, like from this year. Like every select card is the golds are all like checkerboardy, and this is the concourse is the only true gold. So like where it doesn't have some weird pattern to it, including the field level. So this is a pop 2 Justin Fields. We got a cracked ice, one of the hottest young guys. We got to get into the young guy conversations with you guys in a second. But then we got a Jordan Love optic cracked ice. And then we got a Trevor Lawrence select gold 9 true gold. Nice Jim Thorpe vintage 1933. Clear. These are super rare. Are these out of 10? Yeah. A clear Joe Burrow Contenders Auto 2020. An immaculate Jalen Hurts with the Eagle logo. And then this one, I'm sure you guys would appreciate too, is the 98 co-signers, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino. Those autos are always just like almost completely faded to disappearing. So these ones, I have a 10 that I'm holding, PSA 10 that I probably won't move. But then again, that's my 9.5 and it's in the auction. So I guess
it's yours.
know, but yeah, that one's mine. I've owned like 7 of them and I like wanted to hold them, but I think I got to the point where I was just like, yeah, I mean, you could either have stuff sitting and like capturing dust, or you could move it and make some profit and turn it over. So I got my 1, so I'm good with that one.
Yeah. We have another
That's
one.
a card that I always feel like
Yeah.
it's such a good card. Like Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, but it's a Manning rookie on card auto. Anytime you can find him with a good auto at a reasonable price, dude, I feel like it's pretty easy to move.
I think the co-signers, the old ones in general, are super nice. Like the baseball ones too. I think there's a Hank Aaron, Willie Mays one. I want one of those so bad.
That's tough.
Those
I've
are
actually
such
never
good
owned
autos,
one of
which are
those.
So tough.
There's a Randy Moss, Jerry Rice 99 co-signers as well. That one's
Yeah.
really
There's
cool.
a Jeter,
That's tough
Chipper
to find.
Jones.
Yeah, I had one of the Jeter chippers. I had a PSA 10.
Do you guys deal a
Right.
lot in the dual triple auto type of field? Like, do the rookie like where there's like a good rookie on the card? Do those, or like preferably dual rookies? Do you guys see like a big jump in those, since it's like so hard to get like two good players on one card, especially when they're both rookies?
I think
Mikey,
it depends. I think it depends really because like, when they're rookies, that's another percent chance that rookie's gonna bust. How many like great Hall of Fame autos do you see with just some bum you've never heard about
right?
from the rookie
That,
year?
that was kind of my point. I was like talking about like looking back. So like say like from like 1999, 2000, when there's one really good rookie and like a Hall of Famer, or maybe preferably two good rookies. Like, do you guys see like a jump in those prices when it's like so difficult to get like two guys that actually panned out? To me, it's fascinating. I like those type of.
I love that. Yeah, I don't know if you see many of them. That's the sad part. Is like usually, I guess I'm trying to think of ones off the top of my head. Like obviously you have like the Rice Moss like co-signers. I love that, but they were big. They were big at the time. Those weren't rookies. Try to think of like rookies. Like I love the Dan Marino, Peyton Manning. That's a good example.
It's usually like a Hall of Famer with one good rookie. Like there's like a Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson from 07.
That's sick.
Adrian Peterson, Barry Sanders from
Yep.
07, right?
Yep.
I'm trying to think. They kind of went away from doing a lot of the dual autos, like with like Hall of Famers, because I think for that same reason. I mean, it's so much to live up to. Even signing, like if you're doing an on card and you're signing with like Barry Sanders, I mean, I would feel a ton of pressure. I mean,
That's a cool moment though for those
Yeah.
young guys to
Very
sign the
cool.
same
Zion
card
and
that
Kobe?
Barry Sanders just
Oh,
signed.
yeah.
Zion,
Those
Kobe,
those
yeah.
cards are sick. Those what are they called? Art series or something?
Yeah,
like
the
Stewie
Court
or something.
Kings.
Yeah.
Court Kings.
Those are the sad part is like the John Morant Kobe's. Like those are really beautiful cards.
Beautiful.
They were
they
worth
are.
so much when they came out.
All you gotta do is just not pull a gun out, and you'll probably be okay. The card would be worth so much more money if he just didn't pull his gun out.
Mhm.
Only.
What are you gonna do? Happens, I guess.
There's a lot of passing the torch duels that are like that. I think, like just
yeah.
like a young guy and
What do you think about
There's
those?
one
Because
guy.
they're like front and back. So like, do you think that kind of hurts it a little bit?
yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Mikey,
Value wise,
you just had one that had like 7 Hall of Famers, front and back, right?
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Wasn't it like
Maybe.
Kurt Warner, Peyton Manning? No.
Maybe think of the other Mikey's cards. I don't know.
Oh, I don't
Wasn't
know.
me.
The fake Mikey. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The fake Mikey says no. I don't like front and back cards. It's so tough to display. And then when like people see the front of the card and they see your insane value for it because they don't see the back, they just kind of immediately write it off.
Yeah.
I have a funny one.
Oh, show us a card. What do you got, Tyler?
Just going off of this subject. I pulled out my PC case. I don't take it out very often.
Wait, I'm gonna know exactly what this is. This is a.
I don't think you will.
RG3. No,
Oh
this is
yeah,
an
but look at that.
RG3.
I was gonna
Andrew
make a
Luck,
comment about that.
Trent Richardson, Marcus Mariota.
It was, so the triple that I was gonna mention, it's a Ryan Tannehill, RG3, and Andrew Luck. And who would
knew
have
it.
thought Tannehill would have the best career out of those
Crazy.
three? Say what you want, the stats are there.
You think he had a better career than Andrew Luck?
Longevity wise, absolutely, obviously, but yeah,
What's a starting QB?
he's got more playoff wins.
Yeah.
But this was the one I was.
Ooh, we got a
Oh, that's so cool.
Peyton Vince Young.
I
Yeah,
love that.
Exquisite.
Is that
I love this type of
Vince's
stuff.
rookie year?
Yes,
7?
yeah, 06.
No,
6, I
8.
think.
Oh, it's 6.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
6.
6, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna do a
It's
giveaway real quick, guys. So
very cheap.
for everyone that stuck through, we're giving away an Albert Einstein rookie from 1928 Salem. So go ahead and tag someone that's changed your view in the hobby. Why are you? He said I'm too corny, but let's get some positivity out there. Tag someone
that's
that's helped
corny.
you in the hobby or that you've learned from. Say something nice about them, and then tag us. And then we'll pick our favorite answer, and you'll win a Salem Albert Einstein. Brilliant. What do you guys think? I like the oddball stuff. So like I've switched like my entire collection, like personal, like because it's cheap. Like a card like this is like $200, right? And I've switched to basically collecting like obscure older like historical figures and just like cartoony types of things like Simpsons, whatever, just because it's so cheap compared to like sports cards. Like I could have a stack of cards for $1,000 versus like maybe one or two. And honestly, like I don't sell them, but some of the stuff I bought has gone up like 10x just because they're so rare. Like stuff like that is hard to come by. I mean, I don't know if you guys have come across any of that kind of stuff, but I really enjoy it.
I've always found like there's always one other person who enjoys it. You're never the only one.
Yeah,
You know, no
it's
matter how
all
obscure you think
oddball
it is.
people, just like myself. It's all just interesting. Well, maybe not interesting, but like where you'd say, "Oh, that person's interesting," you know, those type of people like that like this kind of stuff. But yeah, Kai, you got any other questions?
I'm excited for the national. What is you guys looking forward to the most for the national this year? Anything special? Looking forward to?
Yeah, Mikey, we kind of talked with Tyler about his ADHD or ADD and how he has to have like a kind of plan this year. So what is your like plan, or do you have like an idea of like what you're looking for going into the national? Are you setting up? Are you walking? And then like what's your like general game plan going in?
I never really have a game plan. I feel like for both shows, I mean, game plan is find cool cards, make money.
Yeah.
It's a pretty loose game plan.
Good goals.
But national, I never set up. I don't like setting up at the national. I did it 1 year, and it was fine. Obviously, the national, no matter what you do, is gonna be a good show. You got to try pretty hard to make the national a bad show. I feel like, but setting. I feel like walking around, I get to meet more people. The one thing I love about the national is that like I always meet somebody I've like never met before, and they always have like the sickest stuff, and like oh, I didn't even know you existed. And I feel like when you set it up a table, you kind of lose that a little bit. I also like the art of finding something wild, like in someone else's cases. I like walking around. It's kind of like a hunt for me.
What's like the coolest card that you picked up that at the national in years past? Would you say?
Oh, that's a tough one. I have to remember what I picked up at the national. I'd have to look back. I don't remember. I can't really pinpoint one specific one that I picked up at the national. I think I picked up a 2014 Flawless Brady Victory Champions out of 5, where he's doing like that pose.
Oh yeah.
I love that card. That was really cool.
Nice.
Is it kind of like heaven for you guys, since like Kai and I were talking about how like this year we think we're gonna like walk away from the national, and like with like the legendary like Hall of Famer autos that we kind of kept and that we're gonna put out, we our predictions kind of like we're gonna wish that we had more of that stuff going into the national. So do you guys think like that's like kind of national is kind of heaven for you guys for what you guys are like, one, looking for, and two, looking to move? Or is that like a fair assessment?
Oh yeah.
100%.
The stuff that you don't see every day is going to come out of the national. Like people like we go to shows and see a lot of the same guys all the time. Like Dallas, it's you pretty much know who you're going to see and who you're going to do deals with. But when you go to the national, you might see those same people, but they'll bring cards out that they have been putting away for like, and they'll only bring it out for like a show like the national.
Right.
And like people that, you know, like Mikey was saying, that you just never have really like known they existed or like talked to at all. Like you'll end up finding something that like, wow, this is like a showmaker, you know? And that's what's so cool about it. It's like people come from literally all over the world for this thing. And it's hard to stress like how crazy it's gonna get, you know?
Yeah, he's so right about like the Dallas thing. It's like you go to Dallas, and I always like I make the joke. It's like I'm so glad we all paid $1,000 to come here to do deals with people. I could have just DM'd on Insta.
I've seen you guys say that. It's kind of funny because it's so true.
It really is kind of true, but I love the national because it's like, you know, like Tyler said, you know, you get those deals that you wouldn't really get even at like a 500-600 table show. That people aren't bringing out. People save up for the national. It really is special. And I think it stays special because of that. I think everyone unanimously kind of buys into that. The national is always, in my 6 years ago to the national, has always been good because I think people want it to be good.
Right. It kind of shows like a general, just like how the hobby's doing. So like a lot of times I remember like last year, I think people were like, oh, the hobby's kind of dying out, whatever. And then the national happened and everyone's like, boom, like look at all these people. Like there's so many people that are coming from China and coming from America you know, like everywhere, you know. I was trying to think of other countries, but it's getting
All the
late.
way from
I could
America.
name like 10.
All the way.
They're coming from everywhere, right? Then it's just like a whole eye-opening like experience, I guess. Like I've told this story a ton of times, but like my first time going to the National, I was like a kind of like a closet collector. Like I was collecting, but I wasn't on Instagram. I wasn't like going to shows, whatever. And I went to the National and it just completely opened my eyes, like to what, like how big I guess I could potentially be, or just how big the hobby was. And it just kind of like, boom, wow, there's so much more out there than just like collecting in your house. Like, it's just crazy. I mean, obviously highly recommended, but also it's just going to be exciting to see you guys there. Hopefully like to grab a beer, hang out, and just like talk shop and see you guys. I'm excited.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so fun. We get caught in these echo chambers of like, we think Instagram is the card world, or we think Facebook is the card world. Like everybody who does cards is on here or is looking at my stories or something like that. It's just like, you forget how gigantic this industry is.
I hear the card world is on your Facebook, your personal. That's the rumor.
I mean, it is. Yeah, actually, yeah, I misspoke. It is. You're right.
I don't know. That's just the rumor that's going around. I hear on Mikey's Facebook. Do you want to shout out your Facebook? Because I hear that you put stuff on there and it just sells immediately. I don't know if you.
No, I don't need more. I don't need more of that. I got.
Okay,
I can confirm.
I'm just trying to give you a plug if you wanted it, but that makes
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, go follow me, Mikey G Barth.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to close out with some PMGs here. Looking forward to the National. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Looking forward to the floral shirt, Tyler. Seeing you there. I'm probably going to be wearing one too. So I think we have the same style in that aspect. So just excited. Thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
Of course. See you guys then.
You guys.
Excited.
See you.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Thoughts, Kai?
I mean, this has been great. We have a couple minutes before our last cards close. Let's take a look. They're all going to be PMGs, and they're all football. So we have Eddie George. Tyler would have loved that one.
Oh man,
That's a really high grade too. These are tough grades if you don't know a lot about them. The back edges are typically like very sensitive. So to get a 9 is pretty remarkable, honestly. Got a Corey Dillon. The rookies this year were in their college uniform, I believe.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's pretty cool. Marvin Harrison, Marshall Falk,
Damn.
and then 2 Ray Lewis PSA 7s. So
They murdered those grades.
They
7s,
did.
come on. No, but like you said, very condition sensitive cards. Well, biggest takeaway from, I guess, our first big podcast or big show, I guess. I love the guest.
I mean, we definitely got people on that were going to give us insightful thoughts. I mean, that have dealt with $50,000 cards and $100 cards, whether it's cool autos, rookies, that kind of stuff. And they've gone to shows, they've done cards forever. So I think it was really nice to have them on and kind of learn their perspective.
Yeah, the Tyler one where he showed the Mahomes and that kind of hurt me a little bit because people have those stories, but he's never told me that one.
Yeah.
That's like I don't mean to just keep digging in, but I mean that's like a $500,000.
Those stories are crazy. It's like you said, they literally had the card. And I mean, not to dig in even more, but like it's just crazy.
It's not even like I could have bought that. It's like I had that card, but how would you have known?
Exactly, you wouldn't have known. I mean, I'm sure there's hundreds and thousands of those stories, but I mean, most of them they usually make money too. It's not like they're losing money and then it goes crazy. Like they probably doubled up or better even, and then it goes to the moon. And
it's also like the whole fact of just COVID happening and like the card boom. I mean, like Mahomes just won his second Super Bowl, and he has how many? He has 2 MVPs,
something like that, 2 or 3.
And he just has like the most accomplished career you could possibly have, and his cards didn't really go up this year.
Yep.
So it's really like one of those things that's like literally impossible to know. But on that note, let's wrap it up, huh?
Yep.
Thank you guys all for tuning in. You want to close this out? I opened this up.
Yeah, I think we're looking forward to trying to make this a more regular thing, maybe every month or at least every year for the National and auction, if not more frequently. I think we might try to start up our own kind of platform to kind of bring more content like this for our bigger auctions, or maybe like every month or bi-monthly, just to talk about what's going on. I know we have the Sold Too Early with me and Dave for the podcast. Rob has an amazing podcast here, and we're very appreciative of him letting us stream. Like he said, we're going to be sponsoring the trade night at the National with the Wolfpack and Rob, and that should be an awesome time. There'll be more details about that on Rob's page. I'm sure we'll repost it. I think he made a flyer already. And yeah, I mean, I had a great time. What do you think?
Awesome. You said it all. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and stay safe. Have a good one.
Yep. See you guys.